The Nintendo 64 is basically being ported to the Switch.
Yes.
And this is great because Kenny and I just talked about Star Fox and Original Smash and Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time and all of that stuff. Banjo Kazooie, whatever. Like all of the amazing games, Diddy Kong Racing, all the amazing games that have come out on Nintendo 64, and even some Sega games are coming out too. So it looks like they have like Galaga and shit.
Yeah, they announced Sega Genesis is going to be coming with it.
Yes, Streets of Rage, which I grew up on, like that is literally one of my first ever games that I played because like the first system I ever touched was a Sega Genesis. So seeing this is crazy. And then I don't know, I'm really excited because Majora's Mask, I kind of want to play it again. I haven't played that as nearly as much as Ocarina of Time. So even though Ocarina of Time's coming out again, I probably won't play it because I've played that game way too much as a kid. But Majora's Mask, I want to go back to that. So I'm excited for the fact that that is coming out on this. And for the list of games that are coming out at launch, they have Super Mario 64, Zelda Ocarina of Time, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Sin and Punishment, Dr. Mario 64, Mario Tennis 64, Win Back, and Yoshi Story.
Mm-hmm. Those are the launch games.
And then we're getting also Banjo Kazooie, Pokemon Snap, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards. We talked about that. Mario Golf, Paper Mario, and F-Zero X.
So, if you wanted to enjoy Mario Golf but didn't want to pay $60 for the new one, play the 64 one.
That's true.
Is
Is there anything about pricing on this? Like, do we know how this works?
I'm gonna give you my good and bad right now. When this first I popped off. When the trailer started and I heard the horse, I immediately knew. Like all I heard was the horse from the Ocarina of Time intro, and I was like, "Holy shit! They're adding 64 to the Nintendo Switch online service." Like
That's all it took.
I heard the horse and I was like, "Oh shit!"
I believe it because that's you. Like that is you are that person.
Yeah. So I popped the fuck off, right? And I got really excited, and I love the games they're adding. I love that they already confirmed they're adding more, and that we're gonna get games as it happens. My slight downside with it though, and the part that sort of annoyed me, and I feel like it's like I'm gonna pay for it, but whatever. I don't like that they announced that, or they said that it's going to be a little bit more expensive than the current Nintendo Switch Online plan. Now, granted, the Switch Online plan is dirt fucking cheap. I think the family plan is $20 a year or something.
I pay $20 a year right now for Nintendo Online.
So not only is it $20 a year, you can share it with 7 people. So I literally have the Nintendo Switch family plan shared with 7 of my friends. So it's 20 divided by 7 is how much I pay a year. So it's dirt
$3.
cheap. Not a big deal. But I guess I was just a little annoyed that they were like, it's going to be more expensive. Because I feel like, especially now that the Switch is like 4 years old, it should just be added to the plan that we've already been paying for. Because at the end of the day, I love the Super Nintendo and the NES. But especially the NES. The NES is cool, but a lot of those games are hard to play. Where Super Nintendo, those games aged a lot better. I don't know. My point is, people aren't fucking excited for all-star golf wrestling on the NES. We've been paying it for 4 years. I thought it would be cool if they just added to the existing plan, but whatever.
Yeah.
That said, they haven't announced the pricing yet. As long as the pricing isn't ridiculous, then I'm fine with it. But I'm still super excited. One thing I see Golden Axe. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
They need to add Game Boy games to the Nintendo Switch Online. Add fucking Pokemon Red and Blue or whatever. Add Pokemon Stadium to the 64 thing and make it so you can do Pokemon Red. Like I was saying earlier, you can connect like through Nintendo Switch Online Pokemon Red, Nintendo Switch Online Pokemon Stadium, and actually have them connect and work together. They already confirmed Mario Tennis. Mario Tennis had Game Boy compatibility with the Game Boy Mario Tennis game. And just add that compatibility through the Nintendo Switch Online. It'd be amazing. And they can do it. I know they can, because allegedly, not that I would know this, emulators can already do it. Not that I would know that.
Anyway, all right. But I see Golden Axe, which is a game from my childhood as well on the Genesis side of this. And I also see Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which is also a game that I grew up on.
That's cool. I guess if they have Sonic 2, Sonic 1's there is too, as well, right?
I have to assume, but the picture I'm looking at doesn't have it on it. But I have to assume that Sonic, the first Sonic, is on there as well. Sonic 2 is really iconic to me because that was the first one where I started playing a Super Sonic with the cheat code or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I remember Robotnik at the end of the game was in a big ass robot, and if you touch any part of it, you die. But you have to like kind of jump on his chest specifically and hit him. So it was a whole thing. Really hard for me to do as a kid. Very, very hard to do as a kid. But when I finally did beat him and he runs away, you have to chase him and he still
Mm-hmm.
gets away. I love that. Like I love that feeling as a really young kid, beating the game and beating one of the hardest bosses or whatever. Sonic is just like I said. Sonic was my Mario. I didn't grow up on Mario at all. I grew up on Sonic, and that the nostalgia. As soon as I hear, the Green Hill Zone, the music, even when I hear it in Smash Ultimate, like right, like Forest Hill Zone or whatever it's called, forget. But
No,
even
you're
when I hear
right.
it in Smash
Green Hill Zone.
Green Hill Zone, so even when I hear it in Smash Ultimate when we're fighting, I almost can't even fight correctly because of how the amount of nostalgia that just kind of like seeps into my body when that song plays
That's
is
understandable.
insane. It's so much. It just brings me back to a time when nothing in life mattered. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, not to get
no,
all
I
deep.
feel you. I mean, that's how I felt. Like I said, when I heard the horse, it's fucked up that I specifically know like that's the Ocarina of Time menu horse. Like
Yep.
what like there's a way that it comes on where it's like, oh shit, that's the Ocarina of Time horse, like from the
It's kind
menu.
of the same ability. So, I mean, everyone knows I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player. Played it for a very long time. I was telling my friends how if I see a slight edge of a Yu-Gi-Oh card. I'm talking about the slightest part of a Yu-Gi-Oh card, something that obviously I've played with, not any of these new cards, but like if you showed me the edge of Witch of the Black Forest, for example, I would know what it is immediately. Like
Mm-hmm.
I
You
from
don't got to
seeing the
see the
cards,
whole card. You don't
I don't
nothing.
have to see it. There's actually trivia where people kind of post just a part of a card, like a just a slither of it. And they're like, what? Like it'll be 10 of them lined up, and you have to guess, not really guess, but you have to know what all of them are. And I probably would be able to do that shit perfectly for the first 10 years of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that are relevant. Now, if you start pulling out shit from packs that was never played
Yeah,
and
yeah.
never saw the light of day, then obviously I'm not going to get it. But like playable cards, I just only need to see a slither of them. And it's kind of like what you're saying. You knew the horse immediately was from Ocarina of Time because you've played it probably so fucking much
Yep, yep.
that you
But if
heard
they
that and you were
showed you
like, oh,
fucking Winged Cretan number 4,
no idea. Like now, if you showed me Spear Cretin, I would actually know I would know that card. Like I would know the edge of that card. I would actually know. But
yeah,
if you started pulling out like some random stuff, then it's like all right, whatever. But yeah, I'm excited for this. They also announced they're making the original controllers for the Genesis and the N64, which is funny
yeah,
because
as essentially pro controllers for the Switch.
yes,
And
they're
yes, I know why it's funny. Why is it Fraser funny? Why is it funny, Fraser? Whatever the fuck your name is.
oh now it's whatever the fuck my name is. Well, I'll just say this. So I just thought it was funny that I shat on that controller. I still stand by it. The N64 controller is just awful, but they made it wireless, and you're going to be able to play it with all of the N64 games. Although I'm sure you could just use a Pro controller, which
Yeah, you can just
I'm,
use a pro controller, but
I'm wondering though. What will you're a Nintendo fanboy, so this might not be the right person to ask, but I wonder what a regular person would they really spend $60 when these controllers are expensive, by the way.
nah, those controllers are going to be for idiots like me.
Okay, because
I
I was
don't
about to
I
say
don't think people are going to buy them. I don't think they're going to sell them.
I wouldn't go near those controllers. They are so outrageously expensive, and I do love that. I actually I bought a Pro controller with my Switch, $60 purchase. I don't know, is it more than that? Anyway,
Nah, it's
it's
like 50
amazing.
or 60.
Yeah, I think I paid 60. It's an amazing controller. Like I love the Nintendo Pro controller is actually really really good. I
Agreed.
do not see myself ever wanting to hold voluntarily an N64 controller or a Sega Genesis controller outside of nostalgia purposes, I guess. But like
Yeah.
honestly,
I just
I
think
don't. I don't
I think it's cool. Like they did this essentially a pro controller variant of the SNES and the NES
yeah. So
controller.
you knew that was coming too, then?
Yeah, so I knew that was coming, and I haven't bought those yet, just because I just haven't. But I do want them. The big problem though is just scalpers, man. Like people just buy the fucking stock and then try to resell it for like $200, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But I actually do really want the 64, like more than all of the other ones. I want the 64 controller, pro controller, because I just the Nintendo 64 was my first console that I truly sunk. Like the SNES is the console. Like I was born into the world, and that console was in my house, and I grew up playing Donkey Kong Country and Super Mario World. But the Nintendo 64 is the first console where like I was already alive. I got it at Christmas, and like I really grew up with it. So I think I'm definitely going to try to get the 64 Pro controller.
Well, I do want to read a funny article.
Here we go. So I'm about to hear some bullshit.
Oh, I'm about to read a funny article from 2002. The article was titled, and this is on CNET. This is official as fuck. Nintendo offers gloves to prevent joystick injuries. The company agrees to provide protective gloves
I
to
remember
owners of the
this.
Mario Party game after receiving numerous reports of children being injured using an N64 controller while playing Mario Party. Nintendo's agreement to offer gloves settles a complaint from the New York Attorney General's office, which had heard from parents of children who had suffered cuts, punctures, blisters, and friction burns on their hands because of the intense joystick movement some portions of the multiplayer N64 game require. One kid got a tetanus shot. The alarming thing was how little sometime of these children played the game before they were injured. One parent said their kid had only been playing for 15 or 20 minutes when they got a second-degree burn,
Fucking
which
lying
is
ass
what?
bitch.
Which, yeah, I just don't believe that. Nintendo representatives cannot be reached for comment. The recorded message on the company's Mario Party hotline, however, recommends that players avoid injuries simply by manipulating the joystick with their thumb and forefinger rather than the palm of the hand. The potentially embarrassing development comes at a critical time for Nintendo as the company faces renewed competition from Sony and its new PlayStation 2. So this is before the PS2 really came out, and Microsoft's upcoming Xbox game, which Bill Gates will provide more details on tomorrow. So this is like literally before the Xbox 2.
I remember hearing
Lastly,
about this. Oh, my bad. Go ahead. I thought it was done.
I just got to read this last. Lastly, under the settlement, Nintendo agreed to provide 4 sets of sports gloves to each Mario Party owner who sends in a request. So, I mean, this is wild. Like, this is just
Let me
ridiculous.
just say, I remember hearing about this. Y'all are some bitches, all right? Y'all are weak. All I'm saying is there's not a single Japanese kid that started crying about their fucking hands hurting, all right? Americans were just like, "Oh man, let's fucking soothe them, Tommy." Where they're fucking out here working, the fucking coal mines closed down. They needed a quick fix. They went and sued Big Nintendo because little Timmy didn't know how to fucking play Mario Party. I
Yeah.
played Mario Party every goddamn day. And yeah, you get a blister here and there. So
Yeah.
man the fuck up.
You want to
Anyway,
win, don't you?
you want to win. Anyway, I can't believe. I remember hearing those stories and people. I can't believe the amount of bitchery that is in people
I love it.
that they couldn't fucking
We
play
are coining
Mario
that.
Party without crying.
Bitchery.
Straight bitchery. I don't know. I remember I always hated that though because I really do feel like people didn't really get injured or get hurt. Like I don't know a single person. It's anecdotal, but I don't know a single person in real life that actually got injured playing Mario Party.
Yeah.
It's just all fucking moms that are trying to make a quick buck and sue somebody.
Now, I will say this. I never got injured, like actually injured playing Mario Party or any other game on N64, but what I will say is that putting my palm down to rotate, which is something that I think we all probably did at some point,
Yeah,
because that was the best way to rotate. Like
for
let's
sure.
let's be honest, that was the best way. And if you did that for a lot, it did hurt. Like I'm not gonna sit here and lie like it didn't. That shit actually does hurt. But I just simply
Yeah, I
like
mean,
a
so does
fucking
life.
normal person, I just stopped doing it. Like when it became painful, instead of continuing until I started bleeding, I just stopped.
Nah, people don't have self control, Fraser. I don't think Nintendo had a good lawyer, or they just like didn't care and they just were like, "Fuck it, let's settle." Because my argument would be, well, who the fuck told you to do that? Like the game shows you what to do and it tells you to use your thumb. It's called a thumbstick. I don't know why the fuck you.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, we have full video versions of our podcast episodes available on the IMNerd Patreon, as well as exclusive content.
If you'd like to listen to our full podcast episodes or find us on any other social media platforms, you can do so by clicking the link tree below.